What's up, people? Yo, 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 in a bottle of rum. What's up, everybody? Can y'all hear me? And can y'all hear the music as well? Let me know if I need to turn the volumes up, all the other stuff. I was going to try something new, but then I decided, nah, I'm not going to do that because, you know, once you mess with any wheels on the cog, everything falls apart. But good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, or good night, or evening, whatever the heck it is where you're at. My name is MM2K of PNTS Network and StadiaDosage, and I'm here with a special SLS featuring MM2K. Can you do us a huge favor before we really get started, get things rolling today? Hit that like button. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. And rock those bells for notifications, please, so you know when we're dropping all these doses. We appreciate all of y'all straight up. Y'all know the deal, y'all know the reason, and y'all know the slogan. We are not proud. We're not too proud to ask. I don't know the damn slogan. On the heels of that, we got some great content coming from some other great contributors. We tested it out a little bit last week. Shout out to KBJ for becoming a member. Thank you, my friend. But we tested it out last week. We're going to test it out some more. So hopefully you guys will enjoy the content. Hashtag media guy. Did you see my DM, bro? Just let me just yay or nay. You know what I'm saying? And you know, we'll wrap. I just want to make sure that you check your DMs. So we want to let people know that we got some great content coming. Last night, I actually did a live reaction to the Game Awards show. And I'm going to post it for the members. It's 3 hours and 45 minutes. I'm going to post it for the members. And so if you're a member, you get to partake in that, to get to see my reaction to different things and all the other stuff. I think me and my cat got into an argument during the show, so you get to hear all that craziness, some of the crazy stuff that happens in my house. Because it was my turn to make dinner, and I couldn't get out of it because my wife worked a double. So you'll get to hear some of the craziness in my house. Also, we got another Saturday night or Saturday morning. Golly, I'm having a complete and total brain fart. We got another Saturday show lined up for you. Special guest. I'm not going to tell you yet. Here's how it's going to work. We're going to be busy today on this channel. Golly. Around 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Mark your calendars. Or mark your schedules. Tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, that's 5 p.m. Pacific, that's, oh, Jesus Christ, maybe 2 a.m. BST. If you're a member, join us live. I'm going to have a special guest, and we're going to be talking about their perspective on this whole Game Awards thing. Shout out to Anime Rocks for subscribing to the channel, to this whole Game Awards thing, and just some Stadia stuff going on in general. We're going to talk about that. You can ask his individual questions and all the other stuff. So it's going to be live for the members tonight, but it's going to be, it'll be available for everybody tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. What is that? Saturday, the Saturday sit down. If you want to see it filmed live, you got to be a member. Members of all levels get to participate, but for everybody else, they'll get to see it at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. I do want to shout out this wonderful chat because y'all are here. Y'all know we got some serious conversations to have. I am not going to prolong it much further, but I do want to shout out this chat. We got Collins Dynasty. He said, here for the tears. There's going to be a lot of tears today. Y'all going to be mad at me. Y'all gonna be bad. If y'all notice, MM2K's been trying to turn a new leaf, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, I got some good people. I've been so blessed and so fortunate to have some good people around me. Some great friends and some people that really give some good guidance. And they say to me, they say, MM2K, this ain't an adult beverage, this is just an energy drink. I couldn't get my coffee. That's another thing too. I'm not gonna go too far off the Richter. I can't get my coffee anymore. I got this lame store that's a few blocks down, but there's nowhere for me to get the coffee. And my wife takes the car now. So that sucks. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, my friends say to me, MM2K, it's not what you're saying is wrong, and the passion is good. It's just sometimes you gotta ease it on folks. And I say, you know what? That's right. And they say sometimes MM2K, even though it's right, and you hate to see some bad stuff happening here and there, it ain't even worth addressing. Oh, what? Oh, that was my shower. I was wondering, what the heck was that? And I say, you know what, you're right. And I try to follow, that path. I've been trying to follow that path as of late. But man, oh man, Stadia community, and I love y'all so much. I do, I really do. And I get where some of this stuff is coming from, but a lot of times we are too smart. It's like we see the bear trap. Ooh, look at here, Jeffro, that's a bear trap. Let's not step on it, and then y'all go step on it. Like, I mean, and I can't keep doing this. So I'm gonna address it here. There's gonna be some tears, like Colin said. Y'all gonna be mad at me. Who else we got in the house here? Cold Drinks, good to see you. Says, hey, Dosage fam. Victor Del Maestro said, I told you so. Yeah, Vic, you're gonna be one of these special recipients, but I love Vic. Vic is a big time supporter, not only of Stadia, but of of our content as well. I love Vic. But Vic, yeah, this bud's for you. Igor says, nah, the show is delayed. Stadia's about to close. What? Yeah, I love that from Igor. Exception. Wait, there's still a show? I thought Stadia died yesterday. I know. We got the homie, the postmaster in the house. He says, hello, Stadia community. Carnival ride, keep cycling around every game. Yeah, yes, no truer words have been spoken. We got Karina Kuhn that says, did you say something? Or let me tell you something. KBJ in the house became a member. Thank you so much. Homie hashtag media's in the house. Good vibes. Yes, I love that from Anime Rocks. Juliana Chase is vast.tech. Not sure what that means, but shout out. Victor says coffee time. What else we got? We got Ron Slusher in the house with the eyeballs. Yeah, man, this bud's for y'all. All right. So let me just do a couple things real quick, and then we're going to get right into it. I want to also, did I hit up the Discord? Let people know we're live in the Discord. We got a great audience. We got a good number right now. Let's put this in here right now. And then I'm going to go here to my brothers at the Broadband Bullies. Stadia favorite, right? Shout out to my brothers, man. If you want some good comedy, but that ain't for the faint of heart, put Granny to bed for you tune into them. Check out the Broadband Bullies. All right. Now I'm gonna go back up to here. No, that's wrong. Okay. There we go. All right, y'all. Let's get everything started. So I want to break this down in 4 parts, okay? First and foremost, I want to ask you guys, why do you even listen to us? And I don't mean that I don't mean that to be facetious to everybody. Like, I really want everybody to examine deep down in their souls, like, why do you tune in to Stadia Dosage? It's an exercise that'll all make sense at the end. Also, I want to talk about, I just want to get to the heart of the matter of Stadia's apparent lack of mainstream presence and why that is. I want to also talk about who in the cloud is even benefiting from a mainstream presence. I want to deep dive into this stuff and really put the emotions to the side and really get you to think. That's all I ask. Whether you agree or disagree, what I ask for you to do is to set your emotions aside and logically listen to the things that I am exhibiting here on this live stream, okay? And then lastly, there's a bitter reality that we're going to have to focus on that I want to talk about at the end of all of this, all right? Before I start that, I do want to do one more thing, and I want to give a special shout out to Shaka, Grace, Chris, or whoever else from the social media team that did make it to the Video Game Award. Shout out to y'all, and I got a special message for y'all at the end of this. You know what I'm saying? However, let's get started, y'all. First and foremost, why do you listen to us? Let me do something like this, okay? And then I want to be able to make sure I can see all my beautiful comments. In this emotional unsettling of events that happen around Stadia last night with the Game Awards, I've had a few conversations. And in one of the conversations that I had with a supporter, bless their heart, I love them, but I keep seeing this 51st date syndrome. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen the movie 51st Dates. I'm not going to spoil the whole thing. I mean, I think Drew Barrymore and Adam Sandler is in it. It's a love story. Adam Sandler meets Drew Barrymore in a diner one day. He falls in love with her that same day. They have a great day. And he goes to introduce himself to her the next day. And I mean, not introduce, but, to say, hey, everything was great the next day. And she has no idea who he is. And he's trying to figure out what the hell's going on. And he's like, hold on. And then somebody alerts him. Drew Barrymore's character had a rare condition where she was in a car accident a few years earlier. And the only day that she can remember is the day of the accident. Or the day before the accident, or something like that. So whenever she goes to sleep and she wakes up, her memory is wiped of anything that happened, and she just relives that day every day, and that's the way she's going to be for the rest of her life. Her memory is only set to that day. And it's based off a real life condition. So Adam Sandler takes it upon himself, and he says, look, I'm in love with this girl. I mean, this is quirky, this is weird, but I've fallen head over heels for this girl. I'm going to snap her out of this, right? So what he does is every day he goes and he does things with her to try to help her snap out of it. And he's not successful. Like she relives that moment all the time. You know what I mean? And it comes to a point that Adam Sandler makes a decision and he does something and he realizes, hey, look, I may not be able to snap her out of this. And I'm gonna leave it at that because I don't want to spoil the movie for you because it's a charming movie. I enjoy it, but I feel it's a movie that really transcends my relationship with you guys here in the community. I love you guys. I really do. I've been doing this for a few years. I've been covering video games for a while. I've been doing it at different stints. And this YouTube thing I've been doing for several years now. And when I came across this community, the innocence of this community and the enthusiasm is really what captivated me. Kind of like that's what captivated Adam Sandler with Drew Barrymore. But for some reason, you guys, when you put your head down at night, despite everything that we've talked about, all the evidence that we go through, the monumental stuff that has happened on this channel, regardless of his words that came from me, Storm, anybody else, Jack Deslip, when y'all put y'all heads to bed, y'all wake up the very next morning with the same mindset like none of this stuff was ever introduced to you. And if you're me, you can understand how at times that can be frustrating. Because what happens is, as new people, I'm thinking about the community. Like, I don't get a stipend from Stadia. Stadia doesn't reach out to me, and I'm not. And that's not their job. I don't need them to. This channel exists for the community and our united enthusiasm over the product. This is not a corporate channel. This is a community channel. So I don't need, Stadia doesn't have to acknowledge me, send anything, whatever. This is, as long as the community is being serviced through this channel, we're good. So with that said, it's important that because we're a community-focused channel, that we're not sending people astray here. Like, there's new people that are coming in here and they're scratching their heads, they're confused. They're seeing us that have been here for a while, that should know better, losing our lunch over stuff that they can recognize and realize. And so then I get messages and they're like, MM2K, is there something else going on that I just don't understand? And I tell them no. It's the 51st state syndrome. FFDS. That's what it is. Okay? Now, for those that are suffering from FFDS, instead of trying to find a cure or better recognize what's going on, we get told things like, in one of the conversations that I had yesterday after the Game Awards show, from a supporter that I love. So again, I'm not being facetious, but I thought it was paramount for me. And it was so peculiar but paramount for me when I heard this. It woke me up out of my potential sleep. And I said, no, we got to have a conversation. We were told in this conversation that we are misleading people and giving them false hope towards the product's future. And that's when I said, wow, this FFDS is serious. So let me ask you a question. Were we misleading you when the likes of Project Storm and myself told y'all that fourth quarter of 2020 would be big for the platform? You could just see the signs of it. You just got to follow the trail of evidence. And Project Storm was the leader of that. Were we misleading you then? Were we misleading you when we said don't fall for the doom and gloom and FUD over Cyberpunk? When we told you, hey, look, based upon my 25 plus year experience in the business world, the way certain things are worded, you have to be careful before you jump to conclusions. It's not written in stone that Cyberpunk is not coming day and date. We even wrote an article about it. Go to broadbandbullies.com and check it out. In July of that year, I told you there's a strong likelihood, despite the community going ape nuts, I told you there's a strong likelihood that Cyberpunk is going to be day and date. And guess what? Voila! It was day and date. How about when we gave you inside and count information? The only ones to do so, I believe, that Google had doubled down on the platform. They worked with the developers. No. Alphabet, the parent company of Google and Stadia, put Stadia higher on the priority and said, look, what is your biggest roadblock? What is the biggest bureaucracy or roadblock that you have between you and getting, more product on this platform? And they went back to their partners, and the answer was the development tools. So Alphabet Company plugged a whole bunch of resources into those development tools getting redefined and Stadia having a higher presence. We told y'all that in May. Guess what happened in July? You had the Stadia keynote that reflected everything that we told you. So were we misleading you then? It's not that we're misleading, or it's not that those of us, like my friends, I don't want to mention it, but you know who they are, my spiritual advisor and all of them. It's not that we're misleading or that we don't recognize what's going on. You want to know what the problem is? This is where the tears is going to come out. Get your handkerchiefs. You want to know what the problem is? The problem is y'all want an occasional stroke of your stubborn desire to see cloud gaming go mainstream overnight or ASAP. And you're not going to get it here. We follow the facts. That's where we pivot from, period. So with all that said, ask yourself, again, why do you listen to this platform? Anybody's welcome to listen to it. Anybody's welcome to ask questions or put out thoughts or ulterior motives. But deep down inside, I want to know, why do you listen to Stadia Dosage? Or is it to get the facts? Is it to be put on the proper path of the likelihood of what's going on? Because after all that stuff that we just told you, that we were right on about all that stuff, and most of that stuff we didn't get inside information on. We just followed the facts that was available to everybody, and it ended up being right. We're telling you. We also told y'all in May that Google's putting their head down. They're doing the hard work. They're doing the hard press to go get these games on the platform the best way that they can. The games that you want on the platform the best way that you can. The best way that they can. So if you don't hear from them for a while, remember when we said that? If you don't hear from them for a while, that is why. We also told y'all, don't lose y'all lunch over them not being at mainstream events. That is not the secret sauce to success for them. And we're about to get into why. But all this was made self-evident time after time, time after time. And every time y'all put y'all heads down at night, all y'all do is wake up like Drew Barrymore in 50 First Dates and lose it all. FFDS is real. Can I get a hashtag FFDS in the chat? Can somebody do it for me? That FFDS, see, the biggest, we've gone beyond, but there's going to be trials and tribulations because this platform is new. I get it. But oh man, I've been covering video games for a long time, and I got to be honest with you people. There are a set of challenges in this community that I've never seen before. They're very unique to this community. But I love it. You got to take the good and the bad. I love the community. You got to take the good and the bad. But it's great to be self-aware. We've gone past the canoe people. Now our challenge is FFDS, 51st Date Syndrome. Now, again, when I get into the next part, my thoughts are not that Stadia is great, Stadia is perfect, everything is fine. Trust me, I am not one of those people. I've been very vocal. I don't even want to get into 2020. Let's just focus on 2021. In 2021, I will say with no hesitation that nobody beat the drum harder on Stadia's poor messaging when they closed down SG&E. Nobody. I beat that drum every day. You would have thought you was at an Oregon, Michigan State college game. Every day. Now that we're dealing with the 60 frames per second conundrum, I done told y'all, I love the platform. When it works for me, I'm using it. But right now, it's not a premier platform for me. It's my favorite way to play. But for the most part, you know, if a game like Far Cry 6 or whatever ain't got them 60 frames, I got to play it elsewhere. And I ain't shied away from that. And I've told my peers, publicly and behind the scenes, don't be dismissive about the 60 frames per second situation, because it's serious for people. A lot of tech heads came over to this platform for that. We started a Spaces on that. Did shows on it. Now that I'm not beating the drum over, because it's not a deal breaker for me to not touch the platform at all. If it is for you, that's fine. For me, it's a conundrum, it's a situation. I understand the technicalities behind it. I understand the role that Stadia plays, and more importantly, the role or the lack of a role that the publishers and the developers play in giving Stadia the shaft. So it's not a deal breaker for me. But nonetheless, we've been vocal on it. We beat that drum. And I've been vocal since the beginning about, yes, Stadia needing to be more transparent about what games are coming. Because people make plans around those games. That's very important. And they have to get better at that. I get that there's challenges. I get that they're not getting the stability from their partners on that end. We know that there's evidence of all over the place that they're just getting shafted all around. But that's where the people that are making the big bucks, they got to figure it out. Every Fortune 500 company, every sector, that's what you're told. Oh man, what are we supposed to do? Figure it out. So they got to get better at that. So no, this is not a Stadia's perfect affair. But there are just some things that are so etched in stone, that are glaring with neon spray light all over it, that we can't be playing 51st Date Syndrome with. We just can't. It's just counterproductive. All right, let me go to this chat and see what some of y'all are saying before we go any further. We got the Inya Mama Noses in the house. Hashtag Media Guy says, I listen to Stadia Dosage and Stadia Rev because they introduced me to the wider community. Also for facts and clapbacks. Well, the clapback thing, to be honest with you, I know a lot of people appreciate that. I know a lot of people say, you know what, we love MM2K's work because MM2K, he come at the haters and all the other stuff. And that's just a byproduct of us pivoting from the facts. And when we think the misinformation is just getting too much, then that's what we got to do. And I won't shy away from it. I'm not going to bring names into it. You know what I'm saying? I know there's been times on instances where that's happened on the channel, but we've pivoted from that because we want it to be solely around the message. And this ain't the OK Corral. I ain't got to prove myself to nobody. You ain't got to prove yourself to nobody. And about who's tough. It's about it's not about me, it's about you. And it's counterproductive for you, for me to be out here naming names and all other stuff. So we shied away from that. And it's not about the name. It's about the thought process. That's the issue. Just because you have a certain thought process, you don't have to be my enemy. But I am going to get a little elevated like, come on now, you know better. But you ain't got to be my enemy. Storm is my brother, for instance. And he'll tell you, we've said it 1,000 times. Before we would go live, we'd have the biggest blog arguments and y'all would be the wiser. In debates and y'all wouldn't be the wiser. That's still my brother. I was just chatting with him the other day. Shout out to Storm, man. You know, shout out to Storm. And if y'all get a chance, shout Storm out as well. You know what I mean? I'm not one of those people to where I need you to stroke my mane in order to be my friend. We ain't got to agree. But the truth is the truth. And I can't do it. I'm sorry. I got to be a purveyor of the truth. I've always been that way. Some people say, why do you care? Because it's the truth. What does that mean? Simply that, it's the truth. That's all that matters to me. It's the truth. So me going and doing certain things or addressing certain notions, it's a byproduct of us making sure that the truth stays paramount. People can express their opinions, and I don't think you can be wrong for how you feel about something, but I just caution people speaking in absolutes in an incorrect fashion because that misleads people. And that's counterproductive. All right. So, but I hope most and foremost, whether you're entertained or not, or you like to quote unquote clap back, I hope first and foremost that y'all like coming here because you are informed. You get facts. That's the number one reason for this platform. All right, let's continue on. I just love Stadia, want to hear more about it. Stadia gives me what I want to play for the most part, so I am happy. Exception says, why are you calling out your viewers as the pessimists? He says, there are a lot of people commenting about Stadia. The Works is a big place with a lot of different opinions. So Exception, if I'm understanding what you're saying correctly, you're saying, I guess you're asking me, why am I calling out my audience or some that may be within my audience that are pessimistic about Stadia overall? Because we've been here before. Stadia has a strategy. There's a method to their madness. And it makes sense, which I'm about to cover. And we've talked, but the problem is, Exception, is that we've talked about this 1 billion times over. And every time they lay their head down, and they lose it all. Oh, Stadia's about to go, it's about to die. Then 3 months later, woohoo, Stadia's the best. I bought 5 more Premiere bundles. You can't go through these extremes so rapidly. It's dizzying. Like at least the Canoe people, they pick a side, they stuck to it. How can you go from up and down every day? Wow, it's over. 5 minutes later, oh yeah, I got a new Google TV. Stadia's the best. Goodness, I mean, your equilibrium has to be off. Shout out to the homie Guterman. Animation with the $5. He says, my only issue I had with Stadia's presence was the lack of advertisements at the least. Plenty of Google Play advertising and even Luna. Like, why? Excuse me. Great question. I'm going to touch a little bit, and I'm going to get into I'm going to get into it more in depth. So my thing, Guterman, is the event was sponsored by Amazon, right? Okay. So Amazon did a lot of Amazon Prime, and then they threw Luna in. It was sponsored by Amazon. Okay. And I don't know the realm of the agreement by them sponsoring it. I don't know if it wasn't possible, whatever. But let's just say if it was possible for Stadia to still advertise there. What is it that we see every time Stadia does an advertisement? Like that. Like, let's break it down. Like, when we see Stadia successful, Stadia puts its own press release out, and then the media follows up on it. And we still get instances where it's not always on point. We still get instances where the LGTV thing, which has been one of the most celebrated things of Stadia as of late, and you still got negative articles out there about it. You know what I'm saying? What could have been, the greatness that could have been of cloud gaming for Google. Like, come on. But Stadia sees success when they put out a post and people just report on that post. But whenever they go and they do media events or they do mainstream events and there's coverage, there, where there's interpretation that has to be made by a reporter themselves, that's when things fall off the wheels. And I'm going to break that down for you. So there's a reason why you don't see Stadia in particular doing mainstream events where whatever they've done is wide open for interpretation. What they do is they put out their own circular, their partners put out a circular, all the words are visibly and physically there, and that makes it more complicated. Even though it's still done, it makes it more complicated for the media to sit there and try to tag this crazy interpretation and slice out and caveat this and all that other stuff. It makes it more cumbersome for that, and that way they come out better on the back end. And unfortunately, Guterman, this is something that is exclusive to Stadia. That's Stadia's biggest exclusive is the trinket in the back from the media. So even though, let me give you an example. So even though it's like if we're traveling cross country, I'm in Pennsylvania. So a major road that people go down is I-79. If I want to go to Florida, I think it is. I-79. That's the quickest way, and that's the most efficient way to get to Florida. But if there's a tornado coming and it's going to come across I-79 around the time that I can go, then I can't go through. I got to go an alternative route. And unfortunately, with Stadia, every time they make a mainstream media presence like this, where too much interpretation is up to the media, it gets twisted and turned and all this stuff. I'm gonna give you examples of this. And when you look at the low ceiling of cloud gaming and the potential and the risks involved, Stadia says, you know what? To get our information out, we're gonna have to use other means. It's cool that GFN and Amazon Luna and even xCloud can go down I-79. We can't do that. Because for some reason, every time we go down I-79, there's some damn tornado that comes out. We got to do things differently. So that's why. But that's a great question. Thank you for that. All right, and let me just do a couple more and then we're going to get back into the, let's see here. Jake718 says, people want to hear about games, but not following the text. I follow the tech, like Project Storm tells you a lot. The mood swings on Stadia Reddit is crazy. Well, that's Stadia Reddit. It's its own animal. It is what it is. And Kenya Cone says, I think people complain about Stadia because they want it to fail, but because they wish it would, not because they wanted to fail, but they wish it would succeed the way they wanted to. There's no true words that have been spoken. That is very true. People want Stadia. They love it. I get it. They love playing on Stadia. I love playing on Stadia. If every single game could come to Stadia and every single developer would put the effort in Stadia, like how the effort was put into Doom, how the effort was put into Division 2, how the effort was put into Assassin's Creed now, the Valhalla that we see, and Black Flag, I believe, and then how the effort was put into Hitman, and how the effort was put into Resident Evil. We know that it can be done, not only with the effort, but the support. It can be done, even with the big ticket graphical fidelity type games. In a perfect world, they would get all the games and that effort would be put in there. That's just not the reality. So I get the emotion, but we got to understand the reality. Again, why I use the example. Of course, going down I-79 is the quickest way for me to get to Florida. But does it make sense to try to drive through the risk driving through a tornado to get there? No. We got to take an ulterior route, and it's still early. And yes, cloud gaming is a slow burn. So I get that we think in the back of our minds erroneously that this big advertisement is going to happen and put cloud gaming on the map and make no. And that's part of my bitter reality part at the end of all this. I've been doing this for a long time. I sit and talk to content creators who are feeding the average mainstream gamer when it comes to this. I'm in DMs with people making 6 figures doing this stuff. They are not subscribed and they don't care about cloud gaming at all. There is no advertisement. There is no commercial. There is no speech that's going to change their minds right now. It's not happening. It's a slow burn. And it's funny all this is happening because I just had a conversation with that group again on the heels of the LG TV deal where they actually said, oh, that's cool. But they don't care. They said, that's cool. Y'all making them strides. Y'all ain't dead yet. But they don't care. The 3080 tier came out. They don't care. xCloud lets you download Halo or lets you play it. They don't care. And I get that a lot of us that are listening on the other end of this mic, we want it so bad, we're on our knees begging, please, cloud gaming take over. It's not going to happen. Being a cloud gamer takes foresight and patience to navigate this field. They don't care. I'm going out of whack here. But for prime example, okay, Amazon Luna was there. Tell me, did they trend at all last night? Everything that was at that show trended, even Amazon Prime. Not once did I see Luna trend at all. They don't care. GFN, they showed there was a new game out there, dope looking game. Great gift for GFN. That arc, whatever it is, their logo was there. Who in the mainstream is talking about GFN's logo being there? Nobody. They don't care. But see, for GFN and Luna, they just wave their hand and they say, okay, whatever. But when Stadia, every time Stadia is brought up in the mainstream, if what Stadia presents is not a silver bullet, that catapults the whole platform at the same level of Xbox and PlayStation, anything that's done with Stadia gets twisted and turned into something negative. The people at Stadia recognize that. So they got to navigate. They got to hit Florida through a different track. They can't hit I-79. They got to go through 376 or something. We love cloud gaming. It is growing. It's growing at a rapid pace, but it's not going to become a sensation overnight. The mainstream media, the mainstream gamer, they don't care. We are the ones that are going to prop this thing up for now. So the risk reward for GFN and Luna and anybody else, it makes sense for them. For Stadia, who every time they make a mainstream presence at a Game Awards or something like that, it's looked through the critical lens of how does this catapult you to Xbox or PlayStation levels? Because the media is still stuck on the 12 teraflops and the 10 or whatever. They're still stuck on that. The risk is too much, and they got to advertise through different means. But the crazy thing about it is if you're not new to this platform, this is something that we speak about all the time. I'm telling y'all, FFDS is real. So that's a perfect segue to our next section, which is why the lack of a mainstream presence. Again, if the mainstream Stadia announcement isn't looked at as a silver bullet to put them on the trajectory with Xbox or PlayStation, it's used against them. Other cloud platforms simply don't have this hindrance. Let's take a look at it. Let's look at what actually happened last night with Luna. Luna let us know in advance, hey, we're going to be at the Game Awards. What did Luna announce? Luna announced they made no mainstream worthy announcement. They didn't even trend. They made no news of expansion, no upgrade to 4K in their own same damn game, which is available on GFN. They made no announcement when it's coming to Luna. Do you think that is, if that was Stadia, and look, and the media didn't say a blur about it, but do you think if we slap the Stadia sticker on that the media wouldn't have been all over that? If you think that they would have slid like Amazon Luna, then I'm willing to pay for a CAT scan. I'm sorry, there's no other way to put it. Also, let's look at GFN's presence. No new mention of the brand new 3080 chair. They just finished the worldwide launch. They had 2 logos total, if I'm correct. One for Chronos and the other for this new game, which looks fantastic, by the way. Fantastic get for GFN. Last year's presence was way bigger, and I feel like they got more offerings right now this year. But the media just said, whatever. You don't, nobody's saying, at mass, GFN, that's all you could do? Your presence was bigger last year. What the hell is going on? Nobody's saying that. It's like, okay. But it's the Stadia Reddit. It's the conversation around Stadia, where Stadia had 2 logos. One for Risk of Rain, one for Chronos. Where is the big gap between them and GFN? I get that there's one new game that they had on there, but that was a blip on the radar. Nobody's talking about that. Y'all act like a whole new next-gen catalog was shown from these other platforms. And again, for the other platforms, no blip on the radar, no backlash. That wouldn't have been Stadia. If you slapped the Stadia sticker on those presences, it wouldn't have been Stadia at all. This is all they have to offer? They understand. When we hit the scene, that tornado comes out of nowhere, we're chilling. Therefore, Luna and GFN can take that risk because it's not as risky for them. At worst, what's going to happen is not too many people are going to pay attention, but at least they tried. So it makes sense for them. Even if what they're advertising is underwhelming to the mainstream community, they're just going to go, they're just going to look past it. But not Stadia. Everything that Stadia does on the mainstream set, everybody's sitting back and they're waiting for it to be a silver bullet to put it on the same trajectory of PlayStation and Xbox. GFN and Luna don't have those same worries. It's just the way that the media is built for Stadia versus GFN and Luna. And being that Stadia is a 1% business like them, but yet they got this extra expectancy on them, they got to navigate different. Stadia could have very easily put an ad together lumping the last two, what's it called together? Let me show you. Let's do this. They could have very easily, Stadia blog, they could have very easily did a show or did an ad. Let me see make sure there we go. All right, this is working. Look at these last two blogs. This week on Stadia lands the LG Smart TVs, Bungie's 30th anniversary, and more. Next up on Stadia, Jack Party. And they could have very easily taken these two posts, create an ad around it, and put it on the Game Awards. They could have very easily did that. You got Dynasty Warriors 9 coming. Wow, 9 to 5. You could have very easily did that. You think Stadia don't realize that? Of course they do. But you know what would have happened if Stadia did that? Do you know what would have happened if Stadia did that? The headlines would have been, after 2 years, the best Stadia can produce on the world's biggest game stage is a played out hack and slash. Stadia's dead. News at 11. Very easily, Stadia could have put those two blog posts together, made a commercial out of it, and outdone Amazon Luna, who was sponsoring the damn show. And even GFN, even though they had their logo on that new game that looks fantastic. But the risk, again, unless Stadia has something on the level that shoots the trajectory, not as the same, it ain't even got to be the same as xCloud, the same as PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X, it automatically gets shot down and tagged some other way. So for those of you that are upset because you're like, well, Stadia isn't making a big enough effort to advertise to the mainstream, that's why. Because by the time the dust is settled, whatever they try to put out there will get twisted and tainted. To where GFN and Luna is just like, whatever, who cares? And then they can pick some people off here and there, even if at mass nobody cares. For Stadia, it's different. For those of you that are upset that Stadia isn't making a presence so you can pound your chest and say, oh, look, my platform of choice is on the big stage. What difference does it make? You still get the news here. It's still here. If anything, proceeding the Game Awards, what y'all should expect is to get news from Stadia that some of them bangers is coming. Wonder Woman, you know what I'm saying? What else did they show? The Suicide Squad. That game that is coming to GFN, is it going to come to Stadia too? Are they going to make a port for that? That's the stuff that we need to be concerned about and asking questions about. But them having a presence at a mainstream event when we've seen what happens time after time when they do so, and they just dropped this LG TV post. Them and LG dropped it. They got a lot of positive news. People were still trying to twist it to negative, but overall it was still positive. They're not trying to mess that up by making a commercial for the Game Awards that you and I, part of the 1%, would have said, oh, that's dope. They're there. Great. But for the 98%, the media would have twisted it up and construed it into something negative. Because they got to keep growing. I know I sound like a broken record, but GFN and Luna don't have those concerns. There's not that type of expectancy for them. Is it unfair? Yes. But it is what it is. They get paid the money and they got to figure out the best way to navigate. They still got to get to Florida by Friday. They just got to take an alternative route. And lastly, the risk reward just isn't great enough because, as I'm about to show you, the mainstream gaming community just don't care. Cloud gaming, even though it should, I'm not doubting that it should, but it's not blowing up the scene overnight. It just ain't. So with that said, let's just recap. Whenever Stadia hits the stage, there is this pressure put on them that is not put on anybody, any of their peers, period. It just isn't. It's just a reality that they can't shake right now. So unless they got something that's ready to reveal, Xbox or PlayStation worthy, they can't hit the mainstream media the same way that everybody else can right now because there's just this expectancy, this unfair expectancy that's put on them that ain't put nowhere else. But whether it's unfair or not, it doesn't matter. It exists and you have to navigate around it. So the risk reward just isn't there. Look at it. Luna told y'all in advance, we got some big announcements to make about games coming to Luna. I mean, and to us as cloud gamers, it's cool, it's all right, it's decent. But to the mainstream gamer, they said, yeah. Nobody cared. And they sponsored the show. They didn't track at all. GFN. Logo on one game and one new game. And logos on older games. Nobody cared. The mainstream media just does not care about cloud gaming. Not at the moment. It's going to take some time. It's like DRM. Remember when DRM was first introduced? Via Xbox, and Xbox was going to have you share your game lineup with up to 9 people. There were so many great things that were with those perks. It wasn't all negative. The devs would have been better supported. We always talk about support the devs, There was no better way to support the devs than what Xbox was doing in 2013. Guess what? We shot it down. But now, 8 years later, we all love DRM. Even on the console side, PlayStation 5 digitals are being sold out the wazoo. We, the cloud gaming community, are hopping all over DRM because everything that's cloud gaming is DRM based anyway. But I bet you even some of you were some of the same people in 2013 that was clenching your fist at the window. No way in hell, no DRM here. I bet. So sometimes things take time to grow on people. And cloud gaming is going to be one of them. And for Stadia, unfortunately, they have more complicated trails to travel. But they just got a bunch of good press with the whole LG TV thing. They are not willing to risk it with the mainstream media. When given an opportunity, will twist and turn their words or whatever they've done into the most negative fashion. Period. Now let me get back to the chat. We got a new super chat from Michael Maxine. Shout out to Michael. He says, don't need to advertise when disrupting an industry. Netflix didn't advertise. Tesla closed their media PR. Media will always feed the big. Thank you, Michael. That's why this conversation ain't for all of y'all. I'm not even gonna say it's for most of y'all, it's for some of y'all. And there is media with Stadia. Can it get better? Yes. There are some transparency issues, definitely. But Stadia cannot do, like it or not, they cannot, and I'm not using this as an excuse. I'm just telling you the reality. The evidence is there. With this LG thing, how can you make this LG? I've had some, look, y'all just don't know, people. I've had some of the most crazy conversations with some of my brothers, disrespectful, all type of, calling each other things, everything but the child of God. In these DMs, some of your favorite content creators over me liking Stadia. And those same people, when that LG news came out, they said, okay, that's dope. But they went about back to the, they said, that's dope. Okay, y'all making some progress. And the media still tried to turn that into a negative. Man, y'all got FFDS bad. Y'all got it bad. Y'all got it bad. You got it bad. Yes, exception. If you play on state, if you play cloud gaming, you love DRM. Because the platform holder completely controls your interaction with the license. That's with all cloud gaming. I don't think DRM is horrible. It was given a specific name. Now, people can do some over-the-top things with DRM, but yeah. Whether it's a single-player game or whatever, everything has to be online and all your activity is managed. I mean, and the use of DRM with cloud gaming is one that's praised. They say, oh, cheating, well, particularly with Stadia because it's a standalone platform, cheating is impossible. Well, cheating is difficult. I won't say it's possible because you'd be surprised at some of the stuff hackers can do. But yeah, if you're a cloud gaming enthusiast, you're also an enthusiast for DRM. Just by partition. There's no other way around it. That's another reason why a lot of people hate cloud gaming is because the digital rights management aspect of it. You don't get that choice of a physical install or a native install, rather, a physical copy. So yes, if you're a cloud gaming enthusiast, we all love DRM. No, DRM is exception. You got to do your research, my friend. Now, we're very big on research and facts here. Stadia games have a digital rights management aspect to them. Like the gaming activity has to be completely monitored in order for you to engage with it. It's cloud gaming, period. Cloud gaming can't work without it. So when you subscribe to a cloud gaming platform, you subscribe to the usage of DRM. Whether it's a single player game, there's nowhere for you to install it without the rights management being continuously monitored, especially for Stadia. Now, Ron Slusher says, we want bangers, not no chicken detective. Well, my question to you, Ron, is what the hell is Gasoline Simulator? I mean, come on, so we gotta stop the silliness, Ron. Shout out to my brother Ron Slusher. Check out his channel. Hey, Ron, make sure you drop a link to your channel. Yeah, but what the hell is Gasoline Simulator on GFN? And if anything, and from what I understand, that chicken game, Chicken Detective, is not for me. It ain't for you. But from what I understand, I think it has a high Metacritic. Let me check. What's that? The Chicken Detective? I mean, I'm not playing it. I don't do. You know, I gotta shoot and stab stuff. You know what I mean? If it's an indie game, even if it's an indie game, I gotta shoot and stab stuff. Chicken. What's that game called? The Chicken Detective. What is that game called, y'all? Somebody let me know. Stadia. What the hell is that game called? Chicken Police Painted Red. Okay. Chicken Police Paint It Red. Meta. Oh, look at this. Let me show you something. That might be the new way that we say it in 2022. Look at that. Chicken Police Painted Red has a Metacritic of 83. If anything last night showed y'all, that's why this whole conversation, Stadia ain't got nothing but indies. If anything showed you anything last night, if last night didn't show you anything, rather, is that you can't sleep on indies. And indie won Game of the Year. Now to Vaseline. Well, it ain't. Gas. Was it gas station? What is it? Gas station? What is it called? Gas station simulator? Okay. Gas. I don't know. But okay, let's do this. So let's do It Takes Two. It Takes Two. It Takes Two. It looks like its average meta is around 88, 89, right? Depending on the platform. Okay. Let's look at another one. Look at that. Would you look at that? Young Souls is 83. So only 5 or 6 points away from the game that won Game of the Year. So this whole argument, Stadia ain't got nothing but the indie games. That argument is dead. Yes, we want AAA bangers. I want them. That's what I play the majority of the time. But y'all cannot sleep on the indie games anymore. That argument is dead. And Stadia has a quality indie game in Young Souls And they just adopted another one with the Chicken Detective. I'm not playing Chicken Detective. But it's a quality indie game at that. That is within the realm of potentially, winning Game of the Year. So we need to kill that noise. That noise has to die. Thank you, Exception. Gas station simulator for, I guess there's no Metacritic on that. Thank you, thank you, Exception. So kill that noise. That's what the Game Awards did last night, is stomp that out. That Ray, what's that old LL Cool J? Crush him like a jelly bean. Stomped it out. Shout out to the homie Dre in the house. All right. So yeah, when I hear that, oh man, I don't want the Chicken Detective. Kill the noise. I mean, I know my homie Ron Slusher. He's a big time Stadia supporter. I love Ron. Ron just joking around. But I'm just saying. But there's people that really got blood in their eye. Man, I don't want no damn Chicken Detective. Stop. Games like Chicken Detective just got a major boost. They won Game of the damn Year. And I would never play It Takes Two. But this is not called the MM2K console. It's Stadia. In reference to a stadium. It's bigger than just me. And I get it. We want to see more AAA games over here. But we got to get the support for it. And if we're not getting the support that we want for it, they can't just sit there and say, well, we can't get AAA games, so forget about it. Let's play some hacky sack in the Google cafeteria. No. They got to get games that fill the void. And what they got to do as well is, I think, double down with their partnerships with Ubisoft and with EA and make those games and ensure that those games perform better. That's what they could do. All right? Now, here goes the next thing that I think is really important. Who is really benefiting in the cloud from this mainstream exposure? Let's talk about that. Because I think some of y'all are misled when it comes to this. You guys, again, you're under this belief system that that the gaming audience is just piping hot ready for cloud gaming, and they're not. We got to understand that we have foresight. We're leaders, and most consumers are followers, and they're just not ready to follow. We're leaders, and sometimes being a leader can be lonely. Trust me, I am very vocal. I'm very opinionated, and I don't let nobody influence my decision. I let the facts do it. So there's a lot of times when I'm standing out on an aisle by myself. It can be lonely. I get it. Sometimes you want companionship. But something just drives me towards what's right or what makes sense. I don't let companionship drive me from what works for me. And if you're being a leader, which being a cloud gamer is, you're being a leader, you're separate. You got to idolize the leadership value within you. And don't fall victim to that I gotta fit in-ism. We're seeing that as of late. People getting beat down by words, getting beat down by others, and the leadership quality that it takes to really understand what's going on and fully appreciate it, they're just giving in. They're worn out, they're giving in. It takes a special type of confidence and belief system in the path that you're going forward through to be a leader. But it's called sustained gratification. Once we get to where we're going, it'll be all worth it in the end. And for those that jumped off too early, you're gonna seriously regret it. You're gonna seriously regret letting the haters, letting the noise around you, worrying about superficial things like, I want to see Stadia at the Game Awards. Why, when it's not really going to benefit anything? It's not going to help anything. It just gives you an opportunity to say, oh, my platform's up there, yay! But if it makes everything else around that fall apart, what purpose does it serve? You are a leader. And you got to idolize the leadership mentality that you have, because a lot of people are followers and they wouldn't even touch this. And you did. And you discovered the perks of it. You just got to stay the course reasonably and follow the facts. Believe you me, as someone that I mentioned earlier, who, for lack of a better term, really beat that drum on Stadia like, no, the way that you introduce this wind down of SG&E ain't going to do it, champ. You got to do better. If the stars were aligned for something negative and bad, trust me, I'd be the first one to say so. Because this is a community platform. This is not a corporate platform. I'm here for y'all. But when things just make sense and they fit into place, and time after time, we tell y'all things, critical things that fall into fruition. Let's go over them again. When we told y'all fourth quarter, Stadia was going to blow it out the box. No, they ain't. No, it's over. It's horrible. And they blew it out the box fourth quarter. Over 500,000 new Stadia engagements in the month of December alone. When we told y'all the jury's still out about Cyberpunk 2077 not coming day, and they don't know it's not happening at all. And it happened. And what about the Catherine Asai interview when SG&E did close? Even though I was beating that drum stating your messaging got to get better, we were looking at the facts. The same day that SG&E closed, the Catherine Asai interview dropped. And when that interview dropped, we said, hold on. Looking at this from 5,000 feet, this is a pivot. No, this ain't a pivot. They're dying in 5 minutes. They got 12 minutes. Like that Xbox game, 12 minutes. And what was right? When we told you that Google doubled down on the platform by authority of Alphabet, they raised the priority of Stadia in the grand scheme of things. They said, what is your biggest roadblock? Stadia then went to its partners, the development tools. All right, we're working on that. Stadia also said, we're putting our heads down. We're going to go get you these games. I can't remember who it was. Was it Patrick Sabot? One of the people in the game industry.biz said, don't worry about what's being said. Watch what we do. We told y'all to pay attention to that, and what happened? A few months later, the Stadia keynote came out and really shut down a lot of this negative energy that was in the media. Didn't kill it, but shut down a lot of it. That's looking, you don't hit the mark on those things. And that's a good number of stuff in just a 2-year span. You don't hit the mark on those things. Incident over incident over incident. Unless you're on the right track. There's not that much luck in the world. So I'm not making this stuff up. And really, it's not rocket science. The evidence is there. Y'all just refuse to follow it. I'm not lucky. I'm not a psychic. I'm not a rocket scientist. I just follow the facts while you follow your emotions. And your emotions are leading you off the cliff like Wile E. Coyote. Follow the facts. Now, how can I be steadfast and follow the facts? Because I'm confident in the fact that I am a leader, just like you're a leader. And you should be confident too. We're all leaders. We're not followers. We're not sheep. We understand the intricate nature of cloud gaming, how it's a slow drip for it to grow, but all the great potential that's with it still. And I remain confident in that. And because I remain confident in that, you can't bebop or shippity shoot on the corner of the boulevard can't tell me nothing about cloud gaming or Stadia because they don't know what the hell they're talking about. You're not going to sit there and tell me with all the research and all the information and all the technical people that we spoke to, the developers, I'm gonna let Boo Bam and them around the corner of the boulevard behind Mom and them's rib shack tell me about this and they don't know what the hell they're talking about. Not here. No way. You gotta have confidence in the fact that you are a leader. Or in some circles, they may say a peculiar few. But just because you're peculiar don't make you dumb. Just because you're peculiar doesn't mean that you don't have insight. It just means that you see things before others. And I relish in that. I relish in that. I'm not ashamed of it. I don't let large crowds or large groups try to discourage me otherwise. I just follow the facts. And when the dust settles, the facts always win out. Oh, exception you cut now. You said, I follow the facts, not my emotions, the guy yelling. That's how I talk. Ain't you seen my movies? Old Dave Chappelle skit. Exception, you're new to the platform. This is how I always talk. I know no other way. Shout out to the homie Dre with the $5 super chat. Dre says, Stadians keep being amazing and don't let anyone tell you what you should do. Most trash comes from ex-Stadians, so don't worry. Hey, come back. No, you know what? People got to do what they got to do. Dre, people got to do what they got to do. And if they feel like they got to leave the platform, then they got to leave the platform. That's fine. But again, we're showing y'all the facts. Do I got to go over it again? Y'all think I'm trying to be, what's the word? Arrogant. No, because I didn't make this up. This is stuff that Stadia did. I just followed the facts. Cyberpunk, day and date. The Catherine Asai interview about them doing the pivot. ABC company doubling down on Stadia and investing more in the development tools for the partners. So on and so on. Fourth quarter, explosive fourth quarter. We were able to foresee those things. Not really, I don't even want to say foresee them. We were able to forecall those things because we just followed the facts. That's it. All right, so let's continue on, y'all. Who's this really benefiting, as I was saying? I mean, again, to recap, we had 2 Stadia logos at the event. We had 2 GFN logos, one on a new game. We had Amazon with 1 logo and a sponsored announcement of new games added to the catalog. None of these services trended. None of them. Not even the one that sponsored the damn event. They didn't trend. So who's really benefiting here? From this mainstream exposure. I mean, if I'm GFN, if I'm at Amazon, or if I'm at xCloud, you still try. Stadia tried. You know how Stadia tried? Phil Harrison walking around before launch, walking around not GDC. I think it was E3, and he was talking to Jeff Keighley. And remember, he had the backpack, and he did the interview with Ryan McCaffrey on podcast Unfiltered, and that is a pivotal interview. Matter of fact, the first new piece of material that we done at Stadia Dosage was based off that interview. I urge everybody to go after this, go look for Podcast Unlocked. Not Podcast Unlocked, Podcast Unfiltered by IGN, and the sit down that Phil Harrison did with Ryan McCaffrey. Pivotal. But when they tried it, they didn't control it enough. And then the whole 12.10 teraflops thing, even though it was done at GDC, and I always argue it was there to show the devs. They knew that the media would be watching. So it was a moment to where I think they were trying to make some inroads with the mainstream gaming community. Definitely by because teraflops was part of the talk. And it ended up backfiring on them. And it backfired on them in a way. Now, again, I don't subscribe to Stadia wanting to be a platform that out of the box was ready to battle PlayStation and Xbox. That's foolery. You have industry powerhouses like Jack Buser, like Phil Harrison, who discovered Naughty Dog for Sony. Watch that Podcast Unfiltered interview. There's a lot that you learn about Phil Harrison. Completely changed my mind about the guy. And I used to be sour on Stadia because they put Phil Harrison in charge. And I said, oh my God, this is doomed for failure, because I fell for all the memes. Until what changed my mind is when I heard Podcast Unfiltered interview. And luckily for me, I heard it early. That was one of the first pieces of content that I heard, but I'm always listening to stuff. One of the first pieces of content that I heard as we started the Stadia channel. I think, and I get a feeling, I get a sense that a lot of you have not listened to that, but look for that. Podcast Unfiltered, Ryan McCaffrey, Phil Harrison. It's going to change your mind for the most part. So you don't have industry. Phil Harrison, one of the original 40 people of PlayStation, where they talk about everywhere Phil Harrison goes, it goes kaput. That's a damn lie. He was one of the original 40 people over at the original PlayStation. When the PlayStation 3 had its bad moment, yeah, he was an exec there, but he was one of the execs that argued against the thing that caused the PlayStation's 3 early demise, which was them ignoring the 360. When he went to Xbox, he was just the head of European studios. He had nothing to do with the launch of the Xbox. The media got it wrong, and they get it wrong. They get it wrong. And that's part of being a leader. Just because you got a blue check mark or you're down with some fancy organization, I ain't got to rely on you. I'm a leader. I'm going to vet what I just saw. And it's easy to do so. How can you vet what you've been hearing? Go listen to that Podcast Unfiltered interview. You ain't got to take my word for it. You want to vet what I'm saying? Go do it. Not rocket science. But Phil Harrison and Jack Buser, industry powerhouses. They know that you can't launch a platform with a whole bunch of old games. 23 old games. First it was going to be 12. Then they bumped it up to 23, I believe. And your exclusive can't be Guilt, which Guilt is a great game, don't get me wrong. But when you're launching a new platform, if you're trying to buck with PlayStation and Xbox, you do what the big boys do. It wouldn't have been Guild, it would have been Head Ripper 97. You know what I'm saying? It would have been like a AAA blockbuster game. They knew they weren't trying to battle Xbox and PlayStation. Were they trying to pick some people off that may feel a little disenfranchised? Yeah, sure. Everybody's trying to do it here and there. Everybody tries. Their try just happened to backfire on them. And they learn quick, okay, let's not do that again. Let's be the 1% business that we are. And unfortunately, in them doing that, people are saying, oh, Stadia tried to go and battle PlayStation and Xbox and they failed. And every time everything that's done for Stadia, it's looked at through the prism of the big boys, which they're not trying to be a big boy. Why do I say they're not trying to be a big boy? Because they told you they weren't trying to be a big boy before they even launched. Find that evidence. Let's roll that beautiful beam footage. See if I can find it. Where's that? They told y'all they are not trying to be a big boy. Let me show you something. This is the interview that Jack Buser done, an excerpt, the all-telling excerpt that Jack Buser done with the news publication several months before launch. And they asked him, how do you convince an audience that's already built up a games library, friendships online, to shift over to your platform as opposed to the ones that they spent 10 or more years growing up with? And Jack Buser broke it down into several parts that are necessary for that to even become a thing. And the most riveting part, in order for this to become a thing where you can convince people to abandon those other platforms that they're familiar with to come over here, is a self-awareness. That self-awareness is, this is what he says about Stadia. Listen to this. The same device you are using certainly has better and more rich game experiences. Meaning the PlayStation and Xbox and the PC that you're on right now, overall, provides you more. That will take time to play out because gamers will have to realize, oh my gosh, Stadia has improved so much from years ago. Meaning it's going to take years for us to be on the same level as them. I can't believe I'm still using the same screen. That's the third piece there. Does that sound like a company that out the gate wants to be put on the same stage as Xbox or PlayStation when they know the competition offers more altogether? No. Well, MM2K, maybe what it is they want you to get on the hot tub time machine, buy Stadia in 2027 and come back and play it in 2021. No, get the hell out of here. They're saying we can't, that's not even a possibility until we get through 3 parts. And the most critical part is, look, we got enhancements and improvements to make, and that's going to take years. So interviewer, this is not a discussion for now. This is a discussion for years down the road. We're just going through the normal rigors, like everybody else that's in cloud gaming, of building our infrastructure. Come back to us in a few years. This was released before launch. Does this sound like somebody that's trying to buck PlayStation and Xbox today? No. It's all about being acclimated to the facts. What it's all about. All right. So again, Stadia had 2 logos. GFN had 2 logos. One was on an exciting looking new game. Amazon had 1 logo on Chorus, and then they sponsored the whole damn event. Guess who trended? Nobody. Nobody trended. Excuse me. Go to the chat. Christopher Torres says, Guilt was a great game. I hope they come out with a Guilt 2. That will be the dopeness. Awesome. No, I didn't say Guilt wasn't awesome. What I'm saying is that if you're a platform that's trying to compete with an Xbox or PlayStation, Guilt isn't your exclusive to do that with. And I think Jack Buser and I think Phil Harrison, who discovered Naughty Dog of all people for PlayStation and brought them from Universal, knows that. So the point of me bringing that up is to say they were not trying to be on the same level as Xbox and PlayStation at launch. Were they trying to maybe siphon off some people who, maybe had an Xbox and PlayStation that were feeling disenfranchised? Yeah. But it backfired on them. And then they pivoted. They said, okay, we gave it a shot and this really didn't work. Oh my God. Just like everybody gives it a try. Xbox tried to give it a try. Xbox came out there and said, we're upgrading to the Xbox Series X server blades, the most powerful server blades out there. Guess what? Nobody cared. GFN recently did a 2-week media blitz on this 3080 chair. And outside of the cloud community, guess what? Nobody cares. They're all going to try. It's just unfortunately in Stadia's case, their try was a little bit more detrimental to where, and because they came out first, that stench is still on them from the misconception from the media. It's kind of like getting sprayed with a skunk. They got sprayed with the skunk at first. They were bold first to go in the woods. They got sprayed with the skunk, and you get sprayed with a skunk, or you may not be familiar. See, I'm from Western Pennsylvania, so there is some woods out here. You get sprayed with a skunk, and I've been up to Erie and stuff like that. You get sprayed with a skunk, that smell ain't coming off. So you may not be able to travel, you know what I'm saying? But with somebody that ain't got nobody, you're traveling back home might be a little bit different. Because you gonna reek. And unfortunately, everybody else like, whoa, oh my God, wow. All they did was go in the woods. All Stadia did was try to appeal to some of the disenfranchised console people. And wow, they got sprayed. That skunk hit them. Pow! Pepe le pew. They said, whoa, everybody said, whoa, back the hell up. So now you can't travel the same way everybody else travel because they ain't get sprayed by the skunk. But you still got to travel nonetheless. Stadia realizes that, and they're going through the rigors of traveling, still making inroads, still, doing stuff, but they got to do it through different means until that stench is officially gone. That's just what it is, y'all. I'm sorry. But I'm not saying Guilt wasn't a great game. It was a hell of a game. But it's not the game that you put out there if you're trying to buck with PlayStation and Xbox. So that's more proof. Not to say that, Stadia didn't know what they were doing. No, Stadia wasn't trying to buck against PlayStation or Xbox. I just think that they didn't understand the climate that they were in, that when they said certain key things, it would evoke certain reaction from the mainstream media. One, that would spray him down like a skunk and have ramifications to this day. Should it have ramifications? Hell no. But it's the media that we're dealing with. Nobody vets their information. Nobody sticks to the facts. It's all about clicks. And because Stadia got sprayed down first, when it comes to denigrating cloud gaming, Stadia is your first option to go to. Whenever you see news for Stadia, the thing is to rally the troops and hate on it. How can you make this LG thing a negative thing? The media can. That's the understanding that we got to take away from this. Is it fair? No, but it's a reality, and Stadia understands the reality, so we can't expect the same from them. They can't navigate the same channels. All right. Now, I asked Katie Wilson, Dre says, on her stream if she plays Stadia, and she says she does and enjoys it a lot. She loves Human Fall Flat. Yeah. Shout out to my brother Elton, who says, preach MM2K preaching tonight. Oh, Exception says, I'm a lurker. I see you. You know I get excited now and again. Exception, you know that. Shout out to Exception. Goodman says, I've said before, I think we forgot how long Xbox exactly really got off the ground. Nobody flocked to that system. It was a slow burn. And I loved Xbox. Look, let me tell y'all something real quick. Now y'all starting to get me emotional. Is that my wife coming home? Oh man, my wife is, she's going to spoil the fun. I might have to tell her, no, me and her got something to do. I didn't realize the time was flying. We're having such a good, we're gonna keep this party rolling. The hell with that. She's just gonna have to kick my ass tonight. We're gonna keep this party rolling. Ron Slusher says, it's all love, my brother. Keep repping this great community. No, hey Ron, you know it's all love, brother. I'm still waiting for you to let people see them fantastic streams you got going, brother. You know what I mean? That's another Stadia Dosage partner. He got some great content. Y'all need to check out his channel. Ron, did you drop your channel? What's it called? I know. And look, y'all ain't got to agree with me. Y'all ain't got to like what I'm saying. I'm just going to say it again. Follow the facts. I went over them all again. There's not that much luck in the world. And I'm telling you, I'm not a mathematician. I'm not a smart guy like our good friend Jack Deslip. I'm none of that. I'm just a passionate gamer who follows the facts, who's confident in the fact that sometimes I am going to have to be a leader. I am going to have to be independent. And because I've, time after time, by me following the facts, I've never been strayed away. You can't tell me otherwise. No group of people can change me, deter me, when the facts tell me X, Y, Z. But I want to share a story with y'all. So for those of y'all that don't know, my journey to doing this started with me and my brother. Me and him were roommates. I got an Xbox. No, what I did is I used to trade. Here's how the MM2K path to yelling and spitting all over the pipe my pop filter, and getting my good brother Exception telling him, don't blow a blood vessel, MM2K. My good brother Exception out there worried about my blood pressure. This is how this all started. When I first moved in with my brother, my brother's always had dope ass gaming stuff since the beginning. He was in PC gaming well before I even thought about it. And me, with the job that I had, I was at a critical point at my place of employment where I had to let gaming go. And I did. I had to let it go. I did. And when I moved in with my brother, he helped me get back in the game. And when I get into stuff, I go hard. So what I started doing was, me and him, we did a bunch of gaming related stuff together. We were selling, we were selling video games. It was just a bunch of stuff, right? But one of the things that we did was I would go to a pawn shop that sold video games, local pawn shop. Shout out to the Record Exchange. Shout out to them. And if you're in Pittsburgh or in Ohio, you've heard of them, the Exchange. They're called the Exchange now. Or CD Warehouse, you heard of them, right? I would go to those places, and what they used to do is they would heavily discount games just for a smudge on the disc or a scratch that really didn't mess with the game being played. And so you would have a new game like Amazing Spider-Man that just came out 2 days before that, was $50, but in a trade-in was $45 trade-in. And they would have it at the Exchange for $5, and I would buy it for $5 at the Exchange, take it to GameStop or EB Games at the time, and get $45 credit for them. And I would do that I did that every Thursday for a full year, because Thursdays were the days that the Exchange would put their newest input of return games or trading in games out there on the shelves. So I would hit up every Exchange. There was 4 of them. It was crazy. I'd get off of work, I'd hit 4 of them up, go to the mall. I would get off of work at 5, hit the 4 Exchanges up, go to the mall, trade them all in, and on an average day, I'm getting like $200. I'm anywhere between $100 to $200 store credit. I was able, with that store credit at the time, because EB was selling computer parts, get my brother enhance his computer. We had 2 PlayStations, 2 Xboxes, and his computer was decked out. Right? And Xbox was our favorite platform at the time. We were looking at PlayStation like, oh man, this Xbox is so great because of this, that, and the other, and these things that it can do. But then Xbox ran into a lull. And our PlayStations that we bought, we just bought them just because I had so much damn credit. We never played on the PlayStations. The PlayStations were collecting dust. And I remember looking at my brother and saying, we're going to have to whip out these PlayStations because Xbox ain't got no games. And PlayStation is coming out with all the games. So, to the point that was made, everybody goes through laws, especially if you're a new platform. There were growing pains. Just follow the facts. The facts won't steer you wrong. They told y'all all this other stuff and it came to fruition. They're telling y'all we're putting our heads down and we're trying to get the games that you guys want. It's not an overnight process. So if you're enjoying the platform, don't fall for this doom and gloom. I mean, if you're not enjoying it, look, if you're not enjoying, and what I mean not enjoying is that if it's that detrimental to you enjoying the platform, that you're not getting information a little bit more transparent, then you got to do what you got to do. I get it. But don't let the murmurs from somebody else bebopping them around the corner tell you something when the facts are telling you otherwise. And what you're seeing is a byproduct of Stadia getting sprayed down with that skunk, for them just like poking in the woods. Hey, look, maybe we can get something out of here. And they got sprayed down. And them not being able to sit in the car and the ride back with everybody else. They got to navigate a different terrain. But they're starting to see success. I do a show monthly, and it's coming back. Took a hiatus for the holidays. The number show for Stadia was one of the smartest people that I've met. And overall, the trajectory for Stadia is great. At times, it's flat. But at times, like as of late, it is phenomenal. Stadia's making moves despite the complications that they have to deal with. Despite the fact that they got sprayed down with that skunk. It's unfortunate this way. And angers you sometimes thinking that the media handles their information that way because they would have been, if trust me, if Stadia didn't have this dynamic that they had to deal with, they would have been at the Game Awards. Are you trying to tell me here? Let's bring it back up. Are you trying to tell me that Stadia couldn't combine these two blog posts into an ad? The blog post with all this information in it, and the fact that Dynasty Warriors 9 is coming. You're trying to tell me they couldn't have created a better ad than Luna? Of course they could have. And they could have embarrassed Luna at their own damn show that they sponsored. But they can't go to these venues without it getting twisted and turned a certain way. They can't go there unless they got something Xbox Series X or PlayStation 5 worthy. Because that's the prism that everybody in the mainstream media or mainstream period that knows about Stadia looks at whatever they got to talk about. They don't like what GFN's, or if they don't really care about GFN and Lunar, it's not a risk for them. It's worth it because maybe they can pick off a few. But by the time the dust settles for Stadia, they don't have that luxury. Okay? Let's bring this on home. Let's bring this on home. Yeah, I was slanging them games. I was slanging them games. Hey, look, and then the crazy thing about it is a week before the last thing that I wanted to do, WinStar, was get, I can't remember what the video card was. It was getting a video card for my brother because EB Games was still up. And EB Games used to be a store called Babbage's. And then they turned into EB Games. So they always sold computer parts until like the last few years that they were in existence. And before GameStop bought them up. Purple Haze 614 with the $5. Did you mean to put something up there? If you did, drop a comment and I'll definitely highlight it. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it, my friend. But yeah, Purple Haze, if you meant to put something out there, just drop one and I'll definitely highlight it. But I just bought the memory card. I mean, I just bought the what's it called for my brother because he was in love with Battlefield 1942. Oh my God. And I just got it for my brother. And I think if my memory serves me correct, I might have years. You gotta excuse me. This was like 15 years ago, probably, if not longer. And Purple Haze, thank you so much. I appreciate it, good brother. Thank you. I had just got that video card. I can't remember which one it was. Thank you so much, Purple Haze. A week later, I went to the final visit that I made to the exchange. And shout out to the exchange, I get it. The final visit that I made to the exchange, they said to me, the guy said to me, he said, "You're here every Thursday." He said, "Do you play all these games?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I play them." And he gave me this weird look. And so I would trade in games on Thursday, but what I would do is I would call in advance. Oh, I was hustling these games, bro. I was slanging these games. I would call in advance, how much can I get for Spider-Man? How much can I get for this? How much can I get for that? You know what I mean? Writing it down, man. I was running the market with this, man. And some games I'd be like, damn, okay, I'm not going to trade it in at EB. I'm not going to take it to the mall. I'm going to take it to this place on Saturday, right? I would take it to another place on Saturday. I would go hit up CD Warehouse at another mall on a Saturday. So I'm at CD Warehouse one day. I'm trading in the games. And lo and behold, guess who walks in? The same guy from the exchange that asked me, "Do you play all these games?" And he looked, he's like, "Oh," and he was looking at what I was having traded in. And he was like, he had this look on his face like, aha, now I know what's going on. Don't you know, a week later, they stopped marking the games down low like that. Oh, I couldn't stand dude after that. I was hot, but I got everything that I needed. It was good while it lasted. It was. I was slinging it. Yeah, man. I had a good racket for about a good year. And when I say racket, I'm being funny. I mean, I wasn't doing nothing illegal, but yeah, I had it going for a good year, man. And I was blessed and fortunate, man. Like I said, 2 Xboxes, 2 PlayStations. Of course, games out of the wazoo. I can't even talk about the games that we had. We didn't come out of pocket for a game for a whole year, bro. A whole year. Enhanced my brother's PC, got me a game. Well, no, I've been at the GameCube before then. And oh man, it was a beautiful thing. Project Storm in the house. What up? What up? Shout out. Now's your time to shout out Storm, like I told y'all to do earlier. Shout out to Project Storm, my good brother. But yeah, man, it was a beautiful thing. But like I said, now we're going to wrap this up. Now we're going to bring this on home. Hold on one second. So again, we talked about, why do you listen to us? Right? We talked about why the lack of a mainstream press from Stadia. We talked about who's really benefiting in the cloud from this mainstream press. Nobody trended yesterday. Amazon that sponsored it. Amazon Prime did. Amazon Luna didn't. And why did I recap on all that? Because here's the bitter reality, y'all. The mainstream just don't care about cloud gaming. They just don't. At mass, they don't. It doesn't mean it's a bad thing. Doesn't mean that it isn't growing. Doesn't mean that we, again, the leaders, the peculiar few, and again, don't take peculiar as a negative. Peculiar just means you're different from the mass. I wear that as a badge of honor. I'm happy I'm not sheep. But what that means is us as the peculiar few. We can see things in advance before everybody else. It's not a bad thing. We got to be confident in that as leaders. But I just want to let y'all know, they ain't buying what we selling right now, y'all. It's going to be a slow burn. It's going to take some time. Why do I say that? I tell you all the time. And trends, I follow trends. I get paid to follow trends. That's what keeps my lights on in my house. And trends and following trends never set me wrong. Following the facts and trends never set me wrong. The fact of the matter is, if y'all think that the mainstream is ready to accept cloud gaming, you're kidding yourself. Doesn't mean that it's bad, but it's a slow burn. Let me give you a prime example. Again, I'm in a DM with your most prominent YouTubers. People making 6 figures doing this. Right? And how do I know they're making 6 figures? Let me share a little something with y'all. I have a background with contracts. I don't need to say anymore. And some of these people know this. So as they're getting deals, hey, yo, Moss, can you look over this? Moss, let me know if this is legit. What are they asking me about here? Oh, I'm seeing some of these figures. I'm seeing them. And these brothers are paid. Yo, Moss, can you look? Hey, don't say nothing, man. Just look over this. Look over this for me. These brothers is paid. And these brothers have influence. So when that happens, to get a temperature of the success of what anything is doing, I go to news tracking. I look at trends. I look at chatter. And last but certainly not least, I look at what's on the docket of these brothers and what they got to say. Because they got the pulse of the community. And I'm here to let you know that not one of them, none of them, give a damn about cloud gaming. They just don't. I've brought people on, and you know I do, and you know we do. And I've brought people on that echo, that's from that world, that echo those sentiments. We've had them, shout out to my brother Project Storm, he's here right now. We've had people from SML on here. We've had people from SML on the show to announce just that. They don't give a damn about cloud gaming. They just don't. Doesn't mean that it's failing, doesn't mean that it's doing bad, but it's not at the point to where it's going to have some serious mainstream saturation. Not for a while. Now y'all know me, and this might, and shout out to my brother Storm. This might surprise my brother Storm, because we look at, like for instance, this 3080 tier a little bit differently. Storm loves it. He's having a blast with it. I look at it a little bit differently. I admire it for the technical aspects of it. It was a great article written on it. And I'll share that with y'all at some point in time. My experience has been different, hasn't been as great as Storm's. But if you like it, I love it. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to that 3080 tier, we look at it differently. But still, all the more, I can still appreciate what that 3080 tier is doing as far as progressing cloud gaming along. That's why I ain't put my videos out there. I remember I told the members I got some videos. I ain't even put it out there. Because this infighting over cloud gaming ain't worth it. I appreciate what the tier's doing, it's not for me, right? But even with that being the case, I'm in a big conversations with these brothers. After the LG information dropped for Stadia, they said, look, good stuff, y'all. Good, that's good for y'all. Great for Stadia. Stadia really making some moves, right? But it was like, Mars, you betting on the wrong horse. That's what it is. With this whole cloud gaming thing. Then the talk went beyond Stadia, and it was about cloud gaming. And they said, Mars, you're betting on the wrong horse. And I said, it's not about betting. This is what I like to play. This is what I'm indulged in. I don't want to be talking about RDNA 3 and all that other stuff. That's not what gets me excited. I'm forward thinking. And I get it. This is not a main stage platform yet. None of the cloud gaming platforms are. But getting in this early will really benefit you as far as your knowledge base and a whole bunch of other things. Oh, whatever. So then it was like, you want to know why you bet on the wrong horse, Moss, when it comes to cloud gaming? I said, why? They said, because cloud gaming will never be anywhere as good as dedicated device gaming. And I said, how so? They said, well, I got Stadia. I played xCloud. And there's this Xbox people that are telling me this as well, with the PlayStation people and PC people. We've played them all. They're trash when it comes to dedicated devices. So here's what I did. I said, look, hold on, GFN just dropped the new tier, the 3080 tier. I said, what the hell is that? I said, it's a new tier to where they have, if you're on your computer, you get XYZ, but you can, if you're playing on your TV, you can get 4K, you can get up to 4K 60, and they're saying that the output on TVs, their 4K 60 is way better than what you're getting from the consoles right now, because you can bump everything up to ultra, and you can't even do that on the consoles right now. Oh, word? MM2K? Is that the truth? I said, yeah. So I'm out here, really not the biggest fan of the 3080 tier, using with the 30, and I don't even have personal experience with this, but I'm talking it up to counter their narrative that cloud gaming will never. I said, they're already there. And we're still a 1% business. They're already getting there in certain aspects. They said, well, how do I get access to this 3080 tier? I said, well, here's what you do. You gotta, you sign up for GFN. You know what I'm saying? I said, it's $100 every 6 months. What? $100 every 6 months. And I said, you just pull it up on your PC and you can play. But no, I don't want to play on my PC. I want to play on my TV. Okay, well, you got to go buy the NVIDIA Shield. Get that for $200. And then go ahead and drop $100 right now. What? You know what they told me? They said, Moss, man, get the hell out of here, Moss. You sound like you're trying to sell some Amway. They just tear me up. Get out of here, Moss. What are you talking about? $200 for a shield, $100 for this. They said, you're trying to sell some Avon, man. Oh, Moss, get that. They're like, Moss, you running the scam. Get out of here, brother. I'm like, no, look it up. I'm sending them the links. Look it up. It exists. I dropped them the PC Magazine link that said that, what's it called, was the best way to get 4K 60 out of a box. PC people in this chat, oh man, get the hell out of here. They don't care. Oh, so and somebody said to me, they said, Mars, I want you to walk into a barbershop. They said, Mars, you're gonna get roasted and cooked. They said, Mars, I want you to walk into a barbershop and tell somebody you ain't gotta wait for an Xbox One or Xbox Series X or a PlayStation 5. Here's what you do. You sign up for this, that, you got to buy this box and pay this every 6 months or whatever, and you ain't getting no games with it. They said, Moss, don't Jazzy Jeff your ass out of the barbershop. They said, cloud gaming is trash. It's just trash. They said, if that's the best you can offer versus the consoles and computers, it's trash. Now, do I believe that? No. But that's the mind state that we're dealing with. They don't care. And they are the people educating the masses. So the point being is, regardless of how ridiculous that may sound to y'all, regardless of how many we may write down talking points, like, well, hold on, this, that, and the other, they don't care. They don't care. They don't really, they don't care about xCloud being playable while you're waiting for a download. They don't care that Amazon Luna got Chorus day and date for $5.99. They don't care that Stadia is now on LG. I mean, they gave it kudos. They don't care that Stadia is on LG TVs. And they don't care that even though they may have difficulty finding Xboxes and PlayStations, they don't care that you can get an NVIDIA Shield and pay $100 every 6 months and get better output. They don't care. So stop thinking that a presence at these mainstream events is going to change it overnight. It's a slow burn. Like the acceptance of DRM. I told y'all, 2013 DRM is horrible. 2021, we love it. We love it. It's a slow burn, but it's one that as leaders in gaming, and when I say leaders, I mean, again, we have the foresight and the fortitude to understand how beneficial this will be in the long term. So we're in on it early. We got to be steadfast and follow the facts and not let Bebop and them and whoever around the corner of the boulevard make us stray away. Everything ain't got to be popular to be of importance. This is important stuff that's happening right here with cloud gaming. And of course, everybody's going to try to accelerate its acceptance, don't give it a shot. But for all intents and purposes, it's not going to work. It doesn't mean that cloud gaming isn't growing. It doesn't mean that it's not becoming more and more substantial year to year. But it's going to take time. Have to be patient and expecting, again, for any of these platforms to have that watershed moment anytime soon. It's not going to happen. It's not negative. Some things take time. But like the catch-up adage goes, best thing comes to those who wait. When it's done and it's ready and it comes out of the oven, it's going to be fantastic. But we got to keep it real. We got to understand what's going on here. And we got to recognize and realize why things are happening the way that they are. And as a lover of cloud gaming, as a leader in gaming period, and I consider myself a leader, I consider you leaders. As a leader, I'm self-aware of the thing that I love. It doesn't make it any less great whether it's quote unquote popular or not on the outset. It's okay. Cloud gaming is going to be a great thing to behold once it's ready to come out. I love that all of these platforms are working and building and improving. Regardless if this service is for me or not, I can appreciate it whether it's for me or not. And I can understand that these attempts for them to have watershed moments in all likelihood may not work, and it's okay. But it's not anything to lose your lunch over. Not. So I got one thing to say in regards to this, but let me get to the chat first. Christopher Torres says, laugh him out, cut it out, laugh all out. True, I'm not trying to force it on any of my friends, says Geek to Sneak. The homie Storm says, when the food is done, call me to the dinner table and I'll be ready to eat. Winstar715 says, the game show is just showing new games. It's not like the new consoles getting them today. So Stadia still has opportunity to scoop it up with their easier porting process, says Windstorm. Next We Go Hard says, tried to sell me Atari Cloud Gaming. I told him to get the hell out of here. Storm says, the good thing about GFN is that it's contributing to the advancement of cloud gaming tech. Stadia 2 for that matter, but why drive one car when I have the keys to them all? Just me though. Christopher Torres said, I say it's ignorance at best. Victor Del Maestro says, I just picked up AC Valhalla for 20 limited time on Stadia now. Ross Lusher said, Avon. Hey, look, bro, they was cooking me in that chat, and I was feeling good. Normally, I insult the hell out of them and I get out of there, but I was feeling, you know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't rapped, I miss my bros. I ain't rapped them for a minute. Because I'm going to tell you this. I had a conversation a few months back. No, it wasn't a few months back, several weeks back. Well, me and somebody was roasting each other. And I didn't realize, somebody had hinted to me. They said, yo, Moss, you've been really angry. And I was like, angry? What am I angry about? It's like, you really roasted, bro. And man, you too serious about it. I said, no. I said, look, man, y'all can say whatever y'all want to me. I said, I can't say what, and I was just joking. So, and I felt bad. So I went back to the DM and I moved. I was moving. And I don't think the brothers realized that. So they thought maybe I was mad. I said some things and I just went offline. I went back and it was good talking to my brothers, but we was roasting each other. And man, they was cooking me. They was waiting for me to come back, Ron. They was cooking me, man. They said, Moss. They said, Moss out here trying to sell some Amway. Like, man, get the hell out of here. They're like, cloud gaming is trash. Oh, man. And that's why I don't, and again, when people say to me, this is another thing. This is for those I want to throw my hat into, because there's been some silliness about toxicity and all of this stuff. And then people say, oh, there were, those that you got to say something positive about Stadia 24/7, and they come. I'm in a DM where as soon as I say something, as soon as Stadia is mentioned, it's all out warfare. And I don't care. I follow tracking because I'm a fact buff. And when I follow tracking, I see so many crazy things said about Stadia. Like, I'm going to say this right now because it was several months ago. One of the craziest articles, if not the craziest article that I've seen on Stadia, was from GameStop. GameStop wrote an article about Stadia, and oh my God, it was worse than anything we've ever seen. Tom Bourne, it makes Tom Bourne look like Jack Deslip and I. It was horrendous. I never said a peep. It was all just inflammatory stuff. There was nothing to debate. It was horrible. I never said. Y'all would be surprised. Again, I'm not trying to toot my own horn and make me sound like I'm better. I didn't just start doing this yesterday. I follow tracking. I follow serious data when it comes to this stuff. Follow the facts. And then I try to present the stuff that I follow here. Most of the stuff is available to you. Some of it isn't. But most of it is available to you. I just follow the facts. And when I follow the facts, they tell me that is that my wife? When I follow the facts, they give me the information. Yep, that's my wife. When I follow the facts, they give me the information that I'm looking for. And the information I present to you. But I want to close out with this. Shout out to Twisted Barber. Shout out, brother. I want to say this, that the most saddening thing from all this is the fact that even though Stadia knew that they were just going to have 2 logos shown at the Game Awards, it's like GFN had 2 logos shown at the Game Awards. Amazon had 1 logo, but Amazon Luna or Amazon sponsored the show. And their announcement didn't blow anything out of the water. Amazon, they even though they knew that, they still took it upon themselves to gather people. I'm not sure who all went, but they went and to show their appreciation. I'm going to assume, because it was the first time that the social media people met, but Stadia made sure that some of their people went to go to the Game Awards. People like Shaka, who's really turned things around as far as the community interaction. People like Grace, who had to deal with the muck and stuff from the beginning and has done a fantastic job facilitating things for the Stadia community and keeping us abreast of things. And Chris, I'm assuming Chris maybe went too. But despite them not having that presence, they still went out there to the Game Awards. I'm going to assume maybe Phil Harrison was there. If they never met Phil Harrison, they got to meet him then. And they did that for their people. Well, they really didn't have to because they really weren't having a presence there. And that jolly, jovial moment that was happening right then and there, all got thrown to the wayside because as they're trying to throw pics and put stuff out there to celebrate for the celebratory moment, they got to go to the Game Awards. The people suffering from FFDS were sitting there cutting a damn fool. They were acting a damn fool over something that we spoke about 80,000 times over. 80,000 times over here. I'll run through it with you again. We done addressed the FUD over Cyberpunk. And we came out on the right end of that. We addressed the FUD about Stadia shutting down. Why the Catherine Asai interview about Stadia features was going to be a relevant piece in this pivot. And we were on the right end of that. We talked to y'all about the fourth quarter being a big fourth quarter for Stadia. And we were on the right end of that. We talked about how Stadia or Alphabet was doubling down on Stadia, making it a higher priority, getting the tools more enhanced for the developers. And we were on the right end of that. And what we're telling you again is that, as Stadia said, there's a second piece to that. All that stuff that we talked about in May. They said, we're putting our head down. We just popped up one time to let y'all know, look, hey, we're fine. We've made an essential pivot and we're just doing the work, but we're fine. And we're putting our heads back down and we're doing the hard work, and it's not going to happen overnight. And we're telling you that second piece is in play right now. Now, again, as a consumer, if that's too much for you, if you ain't ready, then look, you got to do what Jack Buser told you to. Come back when you are comfortable. But just doing this as a knee-jerk reaction, because every 5 minutes, Stadia is either shutting down in your mind, or every 5 minutes, Stadia is the greatest thing since sliced bread, and you want to buy 9 more premieres. Like, something's got to give. And even at that, I got to give kudos to the Canoe people, because they made a decision. You got to make a decision. Because both realities can't exist in the same space at the same time. You're either going to follow the facts or double down on your mouth. Figure it out. But it's a shame that because y'all can't figure it out, that a great moment for the people that supported us, and all they did was do their jobs. They made the best of what they could with what they were given. Couldn't even enjoy their moment. Why? Because you flooded them with this crazy, silly FFDS bullcrap. So I'm going to apologize on your behalf, regardless if you're honorable enough to do it or not. Shaka, Grace, Chris, and the social media community, I apologize that this moment where you guys finally got to meet and enjoy something as fantastic as getting together for the Game Awards got spoiled because people can't separate the forest from the damn trees. It's unbelievable. It was cool, and I think it was a good move to see Amazon Luna there, but I see no evidence of a big push. And that's nothing against Luna. Nobody got a push. Raven Anime, nobody got a push, because that is a mainstream gaming event, and nobody cares about cloud gaming at that level just yet. Everything was trending except Luna. I don't see any evidence of that. And it's not a bad thing that they tried. I'm just saying, Those are just the dynamics that we're in right now. But it's a damn shame that had to happen. So I apologize on their behalf, Shaka and Grace. And I get it again, like I said at the beginning of this. I want to see, I think it'd be great. Hey, look, man, that Suicide Squad was dope. That Wonder Woman was dope. This was dope. When is that coming to Stadia? I want to see some information on that. I get conversations like those. But expecting, not only just expecting some serious mainstream media presence, but then going ape nuts over it. It's beyond me. So we're gonna close out with that. Shout out to the brother Avon Random. He says, I understand that. Next we go host to Stadia for Life. Main Game. Shout out to Main Games. He says, that's the thing. People want Stadia to broadcast everything. Stadia's doing fine. Thank you, man. And again, this is not an emotional zeal that we're saying. Like this, the evidence support, the facts and the data support what Main Games is saying. Like by Stadia doing what they did and independently celebrating their 2-year anniversary, the trajectory went through the roof without a cyberpunk-ish type of release. In many ways, it overshadowed the big bad wolf in the room, which was GFN's 3080 tier. That news overshadowed it. It's a strategy that works for Stadia. GFN, Luna, xCloud, they can go to the Game Awards. The biggest risk they're going to run into is that, whatever, it's cloud gaming. You know what I'm saying? That's the biggest risk they're going to get. Stadia, on the other hand, oh man, it's a failure. The best you could do is do that. If it doesn't, if it's not a silver bullet that puts it in the trajectory of a PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X, top tier news, it's a failure. Stadia understands that. They report their stuff any other way. By now, the people, the faces, the names that I've been seeing for the last 2 years, by now y'all should understand that. If Main Games, who's new to this, can understand that, y'all should understand that. I'm telling you, hashtag FFDS is for real. I saw a great comment up here. Let me hop to it. Let me see. It's from the good brother Nick's We Go Hard. Nick says, MM2K, what moves do you think that Google Stadia will make 2022 to try to close the gap? Now, what do we mean by gap? And again, that's not a trick question. What do we mean by gap? Are we talking about gap between Xbox and PlayStation? Because if we're talking about the gap between Xbox and PlayStation, in 2022, cloud gaming might be a 2% business at its current trajectory. So how does a 2% business try to close the gap between them and a 98% business? If that's what we're talking about, we're talking about the rest of gaming. I don't think closing the gap is with the rest of gaming is how you look at this. Because It's not fathomable. It's not obtainable. GFN can't close the gap. Luna can't close. Nobody can close the gap right now. Nobody can. Nobody wants cloud gaming at mass. They just don't want it. Even the hardcore people that are out here now that are buying consoles, when you talk to them, they got their Xbox, they got their PlayStation, even though there's a shortage. And a shortage for us means it takes a little bit extra. All the hardcore people that want hardware, they already got it. I wanted a PlayStation 5. I'm not lucky. I'm not smart. I didn't do anything. Like there's no inside connection that I had. I just did what I normally did as a consumer. Sold my stuff, built up the money, and put money down on the PlayStation at GameStop. People that wanted 3070 and 3080 cards, that really wanted them because they were going to really use them, they got them. Like, there are people that want to walk into a store and just see 3070s there, 3080s, and want that luxury to, pick up the box and sniff it and smell it. Yeah, maybe I want it. But and you may not have that luxury, but if you really wanted it, you're going to get it, and you already got it. Now, you got some people that are running around for the holidays for their kids or whoever, their loved ones that aren't familiar with this and like, this will be something nice for me to get for my kid or my spouse, and they're unfamiliar on what to do and how to get these. But trust me, if the spouse really wanted it all like that, they would have had it. They would have made the plans and got it. And the mainstream, for the most part, as numbers show you, trends have showed you, generation after generation, the mainstream gaming components don't go to make upgrades for the first 3 years. Why? Because they ain't worried about all the bells and whistles and polygons, but they don't care about that. The main reason why they upgrade to the next generation platform is the platform that they currently have no longer has the games that they want to play. When they stop making cross-generational games, that usually takes about 3 years after so much saturation. And then the majority of gamers realize, okay, well, if I want to play NBA 2K24, now I got to get the next Xbox. Or I got to get the next PlayStation. Because they're going to stop making it for that. Or if I want Resident Evil 10, I got to get, you know what I'm saying? That's the only reason why they upgrade. The majority of people. So you have a situation to where, yes, the people, the first, I want to say, 10 to 20 million people that buy consoles or upgrade within a new generation, that first 10 to 20 million people, if they want it, they got it, for the most part. It's very few and seldom that they don't have it. If they really, those hardcore people. And for those that don't have it, that were the super unlucky ones that don't have it, they're going to wait till they can get it. Cloud gaming isn't as trusted yet. It isn't seen as a fathomable option yet to supplement their want for that hardware. It just isn't there yet. Doesn't mean that it's not capable. Don't get me wrong, doesn't mean that it's not capable. But it being capable isn't going to take people to the store or make them press click to buy. Their psyche has to be there where they trust it. And we've showed you here on this channel where the scientific tests and studies were done. The psyche of the consumer just isn't there yet. It's going to take time. That's why the projections have 2026, 2027. Just got to be patient until they get there. Maybe some things here and there can be done to fast track it a little bit, but overall, it's not going to happen overnight. Okay? And if people like Main Games, again, can understand that brand new to the game. I'm looking at my veterans, my people that have been doing this, some even before me when it comes to cloud gaming. What are we doing out here? Okay? A few more comments that we're going to get out of here. Kessel Runner says, in my opinion, the only reason Stadia would have to announce anything would be territory expansion and maybe hardware upgrade, although the latter not totally necessary. Yeah, the hardware upgrade thing is one that I feel that we got to be careful with, because it sends a false sense of hope to gamers. Hold on one second. Let me blow my nose. Hold on one moment, and then we're gonna wrap up. Hold on. Here I come, y'all. Here I come, and then we're going to wrap this up because we've been going on for 2.5 hours. Jesus. Here's my problem with that, because it gives gamers a false sense of hope. Stadia is a standalone platform. So it does, I mean, it's similar. It's more similar to Amazon, as a standalone platform, but the porting process is completely different, and it's so much easier because of the architecture that it works off of, right? So, meaning when you upgrade your hardware for Luna, Xbox, or even GFN, it's going to have a substantial effect off the bat, because the tweaking, for the most part, are done by those entities, or done by the the platform itself, by the design. Stadia is different. Stadia is a standalone platform, like an Xbox or PlayStation, to where even xCloud, you have the Xbox engineers they say, look, you just develop the game. Here's some things you might want, UI based, you want to be cognizant of, but develop the game for Xbox, we'll take care of the rest. Stadia doesn't work like that. The heavy lifting is done by the developers, and then they'll send people out to help you. But the heavy lifting is done by the developers. So because the heavy lifting has to be done by the developers, it doesn't matter what hardware you have. You're only going to see nominal or higher upgrades if the effort is there. Let me give you a prime example. I got 2 computers here. One is a 3070 computer with an i9 processor in it. The other one is a 1070 computer with an i5. If I were to take a game and put it all at medium settings on both computers, or if I put them at a setting to where they're, and I cap the performance at medium settings, 60 frames per second. Oh oh yeah, my 3070 could have, slightly better performance, but it's capped. They're both capped at 60 frames per second, and they're both capped at certain configurations, right? Even though I'm running that same game on more powerful hardware. What makes the output better is if I make more integral option upgrades, more selections to take advantage of the more powerful hardware. Me putting that game at medium settings doesn't take advantage of that hardware, of that 3070. Why? Because my 1070 computer can run it at 60 frames per second as well on medium settings. It may dip a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? But it's basically, you're going to get the same output for the most part. I have to do more to utilize that hardware and that more powerful machine. And that's how Stadia works. And it's a little bit more complicated than that when Stadia, because there's coding involved. And I do coding. And I can relate because I don't do game coding, but I do coding. I build databases and I do coding through SQL. So it doesn't matter what the hardware can do. If you're not utilizing the hardware, it never was. So if Stadia comes out and says, all right, we got Gen 2.0 out here, you just by the nature of the hardware, you're going to see less than nominal what's it called. But if all I want to do as a programmer is program towards medium settings, and I don't want to take the time to go any further, what's the point? So what I don't want is, and again, I'm not saying that upgraded hardware doesn't matter. I want to see upgraded hardware, but I want to see upgraded hardware combined with upgraded effort. They both have to come hand in hand. So it's up to Stadia with their partnerships to try to figure that out when they can put the upgraded hardware out there. It's like when we talked to Mantis Games. Mantis Games was on this very same channel where I go back to, why are y'all listening to us? Mantis Games was on here and they said, we've seen the 4K 120 and it's the real deal. But what Stadia gotta ask is, why open this slot up if nobody's gonna develop for it? And I hate, I sound arrogant saying this, but I hate trying, I do this and I do that, but I'm trying to help y'all relate to this more. Just having more powerful hardware is not the answer for a platform like Stadia. You gotta have the effort. The way that Stadia is built, the effort is reliant upon the devs. The way GFN and Amazon is built, the effort for the devs and stuff are minimal. Now, it's incumbent on Stadia, I feel, that maybe what they could do is they can buy a Q-Lock. They can get an extra set of devs or technicians to help double down and increase that performance. I think that's something they need to do, and they roll something like that out at first for the Ubisoft games. Hold on one second. They gotta get devs, or they gotta get processes intact to where there's a second group coming behind and saying, okay, look, all right, y'all done with your effort is over at 4K 30. All right, we'll take it from here. And I think that's something I definitely would like to see in 2022. I think they should buy Q-Lock. I mean, Q-Lock's track record has already been proven. I would buy Q-Lock, just like how PlayStation just, and I know that goes down the risque thing of, after them closing SG&E, but this ain't necessarily for developing a game, it's for polishing a game. And PlayStation just made a bunch of acquisitions for just that, for polishing remakes and stuff that they're going to port to PC. I think Stadia should do that. Because the way the platform is designed, I think in the long run, its apex is going to be bigger than everybody else's, but it takes more effort to get there. But simply asking for hardware upgrades, it's misleading to the consumer because Stadia is just built different. And those hardware upgrades mean nothing. Again, you take my 1070 machine, my 3070 machine. If I got them on medium settings, you're going to get the same performance. But my 3070 machine is a lot more capable. I got to make adjustments to take advantage of what's in the 3070 machine. If I'm not willing to do that, then what's the point of me having the 3070 if I'm just going to play everything in medium? And that's what's going on with the development. We've seen that time after time. I just talked to another developer. I'm not going to, name any names. I just had a great conversation with another developer. The same sentiments are echoed. It's all about effort. It's effort. And right now, because this Stadia is a 1% business, guess what the percentage of resource it is that they're going to put on it? 1%. Now, thankfully, early on for GFN and Luna, that 1% is good enough for them to do some things. But with Stadia, you need a little bit more than a 1% effort. And I think to fill in the gap, I think the answer is, man, let's get a Q-Lock in there, baby. You know what I'm saying? Let's get more text out there. And maybe that's what they're working on. But whatever the solution is, it's not going to be an overnight affair. All right, if that makes sense. Let me get back to the chat and then we're gonna close this out. Happy Cloud Gaming says, I have many friends in the Xbox community and so many looks at xCloud like super fun due to Xbox Game Pass and xCloud on console. And that's cool, Happy Cloud Gamer. I'm gonna tell you as somebody that has that nothing. And I totally believe what you're saying, 1,000%. And I don't want to come off as arrogant when I say this. I know a lot of people. And I'm connected to the biggest podcasters on YouTube. I just am. At mass, it's not like that at mass. It's great for there to be circles like that, but at mass, it's not happening that way. It will one day, but not right now, is what I'm saying. Kessel Runner says the day that Stadia can break into markets like India, China, and Australia will be huge for cloud gaming altogether. Yeah, it'll be a great leap forward for Stadia. Nick We Go Hard says MMTK people flock to where they have familiarity. Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo are comfortable brands. Yeah, exactly. That's where it's at right now. As far as territory expansion, Main Game says, I have friends in Australia that would love to have access to Stadia, but their network infrastructure isn't on par to handle it. People want access to Stadia. They do, absolutely. Mr. Barber says people are shocked when they find out that they can have next gen for free. Yep, absolutely. Great stuff, y'all. And I want to thank y'all so much. Oh man, this was a hell of a show. And I hope y'all appreciated it. I hope what I say makes. Let me know in the chat. Did it make sense? And again, we ain't all gotta agree. Y'all know how I get down. Ain't about me agreeing. We ain't all gotta agree. Like I always say, you can't be wrong for your opinion, how you feel about something. My biggest thing is let's not misrepresent facts for the greater community. But you're not wrong for how you feel. I'm just saying that these cries of Stadia is going to do this or this is a sign of this, the facts don't show you that. We've been here so many times, y'all, where we've made this plea to y'all. Like, just follow the facts. Really feels like an ongoing episode that just won't end on 51st dates. Just follow the facts. This is a community platform. This is not a Stadia platform. Stadia, look, for full disclosure, Stadia don't reach out to me. And again, nothing again, and not to say I've never interacted with Stadia at all. They have been nothing but wonderful to me whenever they have. It's been very far and few between. They don't reach out to me. And they don't have to. This is a community platform. This is for us to gauge the community and for us to have talks for those that are, that are enthusiasts of the platform. So I say that to say this. If something's wrong, like if something ain't adding up or if something's leading down a bad path, I'm going to say something. Just like I said at the beginning of the year, people like MM2K, you tripping, you acting like this and that ain't important. At the beginning of the year, nobody was pounding that pavement. Nobody was beating that drum like I was. And again, I'm not trying to be arrogant, but the facts are the facts. Nobody was pounding that pavement like your boy about that SG&E letter, period, in the community, period. And I'll go to my final resting place knowing that. Period. Don't tell me that if things ain't looking, ain't smelling right, I ain't gonna say nothing. And with the 60 frames per second thing, I told y'all, it's not a deal breaker for me as far as my engagement with the platform altogether. But if I don't get that 60 frames per second, I ain't playing it. I ain't gotta keep crying over spilled milk. Y'all know my position. Right? And we had the spaces on that. We talked about it. Or whatever. You know what I'm saying? We brought note of that. Some in the community agree, some don't. I'm not mad at the ones that don't agree. They don't agree. That's their opinion. You can't be wrong for your opinion. But as I also caution, let's not sweep it under the rug. It's an important factor for the community. And that's why it was great in our interview with Hubert Young, the director for, that was a hell of an interview, y'all. The director for Death Carnival. He said, bro, I'm a 60 frames per second junkie. We gotta have 60 frames per second. And he also challenged his fellow that he said, look, I know that Stadia platform like the back of my hand. He made a challenge to the devs. This is why I listen to the devs. I don't listen to emotions. I don't listen to bebopping them around the corner. I listen to the devs. He said, I challenge my fellow devs on the platform. Y'all can get that performance and that fidelity. Y'all just got to put in the work. It ain't that hard. You just got to want to put in the work. And they don't want to put it in. We've been shown time after time. And just like Stadia, unfortunately, has to deal with them having to navigate a certain way when it comes to mainstream platforms, opposed to being on a Game Award show. They got to do it a little bit differently. Stadia got to find a way around this. It's an unfortunate reality. You would think developers and publishers would say, look, this is great to grow the culture. This is an investment towards our future. Let's put in a little bit. We get us a 1% business. Let's put in 5% effort. They ain't going to say that. So Stadia got to figure that out too. And in my mind, again, there may be better solutions, but in my mind, look, I'm buying a Q-Lock. I'm doing what PlayStation did. PlayStation said, look, we're porting the PC, so we got to get people that are good at that. If I'm Stadia, I'm doing the same thing. I'm like, look, we need games ported here. We're going to get the people that did that. Because that was Q-Lock that made that happen for Cyberpunk. That wasn't CD Projekt Red. That was Q-Lock. That's all I'm saying. And that's it, y'all. I appreciate all of y'all for coming through. And Happy Cloud Gamer, I appreciate your comment. We talk about the good, bad, and the ugly. My concern is the hyperventilating and making things bad and ugly that essentially aren't. I'm going to throw another one out there. Remember when Alex Hutchinson came out there and said, oh my God, y'all should be paying game developers for streaming their stuff. And everybody was running around the circle. Oh, this is going to burn Stadia. This is going to hurt them. And I said, no, it's not. The tracking and the evidence doesn't show it. And people are like, MM2K, no, you can't, no. You're being a shield right now. No, I'm not. I'm just following the facts. Who was right? Who was right? So yeah, I want to follow the good, the bad, and the ugly. But I want to put them in their proper buckets. That's key too. We can talk about the good, the LG deal, getting Dynasty Warriors 9, and all the other stuff. We could talk about the bad. You know what I'm saying? This whole 60 frames per second thing. We could talk about the ugly, how they came out with the SG&E letter. But everything needs to go in its proper bucket. That's key. Yep, we gotta keep Stadia on its toes, but not stick the tourniquet in the back. That's how I like to say it. And when we sit there and we overbloviate on things that are not factual, again, I went through the whole litmus. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's about 7, 8 different things that we've had segments overbloviate on critically, and they were dead wrong. That's not good. It's time for self-reflection. You can be critical. You can keep them on the toes. You do that only by pointing out things factually. When you focus on things incorrectly, you just get ignored. But when you pivot from a factual basis and you put things in the right bucket, then you start making inroads and you start keeping company on their toes. You can't do that by overbloviating and disproporting things that are not happening and saying they are happening. That's not how it works. And it will never work that way. Never. But shout out to Happy Cloud Gamer. Shout out to everybody. Again, you can't be wrong for your opinion, how you feel. But again, I'm not here to deal with somebody's emotional fix. I'm not here to stroke anybody's mane. We are here to factually inform the Stadia community who are enthusiasts about the platform, about the good, bad, and ugly, and put things in their proper bucket. That's what you get when you come here. As a byproduct, sometimes we do have to call things out. We step in the past, we've called names, we've stepped away from calling names out because that's just counterproductive. That takes the eye off the prize, which is the focus of the thing that we're talking about, and it makes it about the person that called out this person, and then about that is about the community overall and them getting a clear, firm understanding of what's going on. We do that by pivoting off of facts. And again, we gotta understand why Stadia doesn't make these appearances on these mainstream circles. All right? They do better with the blogs and things like that. And if you don't believe so, watch our show every month. The stats show, the Stadia, the number show for Stadia, or check out the homie Jack Deslip every Sunday. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. With that said, I agree. I agree, says Happy Cloud Gaming. Yep. Again, I don't think people can be wrong on how they feel. That's how you feel. There's nothing wrong with that. With that said, appreciate and love all of y'all. Until next time, like I said, stay tuned because I got to wrap to the special guest. We're going to be back around 8 for a special sit-down interview. But until next time, have a wonderful gaming day. Peace.